Anthony Albanese's trip to the Pacific is not exactly going to plan. He had planned to announce a major security deal with Vanuatu, but that country has again stalled because it wants to remain open to similar deals with China. So when our Prime Minister turned up in Solomon Islands for the Pacific Forum, attention was drawn to how the transport laid on for him was a Chinese SUV, one of 27 Great Wall vehicles donated to the Pacific nation by China.
It's a car. Cars get you from A to B.
Even though it was like gifted by China, not by Australia?
Cars get you from A to B.
True to form, the PM is also talking up climate change on this trip. Labor thinks the more alarmist it is about global warming, the better they'll do in the Pacific.
You asked two questions. One's about climate change and the threat to our very way of life, the impact it's having on, literally, on lives and on our economy, on our environment. That's the big issue.
Really? But money is what really talks, and Labor has committed $100 million of taxpayers' money to the Pacific's Climate Resilience Fund. And in return, it's hoping for plenty of support to host the United Nations Global Climate Conference next year, COP31.
A number of speakers, when they spoke in the plenary session, indicated their support, and there's universal support for what is not Australia's bid, what is Australia and the Pacific's bid to host COP.
Yeah, the Albanese government has opened tenders for event managers to run this extravaganza, even though Turkey wants to host it too, and a final decision is yet to be made. If it comes to Australia, COP31 will be based in Adelaide and no doubt will cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. Have a look at some of the demands from the UN. They've got a whole booklet outlining what they expect the host nation to provide. How to COP, they call it, and whether taxpayers want the COP or not, we'll all cop the bill. The booklet tells us that hosting a COP is an exciting way for a country to step into the global spotlight and showcase its commitment to combating climate change. Yeah, you can feel the excitement, can't you? Of course, they'll all turn up, 50,000 delegates and observers. They'll all turn up in fossil fuel guzzling jet aircraft, of course. And the booklet makes clear they'll expect affordable, convenient accommodation, except the UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres, expects to be treated as a head of state, and it's been the practice for the host country to cover the costs of the Secretary-General's accommodation and related charges. Very important, they got that in there. But of course, the guidelines go into fine detail about all the facilities to be laid on for the delegates and the media, and also for the observers, which it divides into key groups like business and industry and farmers, but also Indigenous peoples and women and gender, which hardly seem relevant categories for climate change, but there you go. When it comes to catering, the UN says there should be international menus, you don't say, and catering for different religious beliefs, as well as vegetarian, vegan and gluten-free alternatives. Well, I reckon they should practice what they preach, and the menu should be entirely vegan, with perhaps a few crickets and other insects for additional protein. Oh, and this thing is going to need a lot of energy, of course. The UN says renewable energy sources should be used to the extent that they're available. You know, green energy from the grid and solar panels and lithium batteries. Yeah, all the stuff that's made in China with coal-fired energy. Adelaide, of course, will be able to supply plenty of green energy if the wind is blowing and in the middle of the day when it's sunny. The rest of the time, it'll be importing coal-fired power from Victoria, of course, and burning plenty of gas too. So once they're all there in their comfortable accommodation and with their VIP facilities, I reckon the UN delegates will be willing to cop a bit of fossil-fuelled air conditioning. I hope we'll be there to report on any hint of hypocrisy.